welcome back, everyone. So this is actually kind of a response to one of the questions in the Q&A. And I'll answer it when I get to the Q&A, but here's a brief answer. The reason you haven't seen a lot of Let's Build the Strongest Character series videos is simply because they're not a regular part of the channel. They're not in the weekly lineup. They're not even in a monthly lineup. They're one of the just offhanded series I started. Beyond that, because I just have my own life to live and the weekly lineups and all my normal scheduled stuff, it means that sometimes things fall to the wayside and I forget to do episodes on them. And so, because it got brought up, I figured, why not just do a Let's Build the Strongest Character? And we've done your core three. We did Goku, we did Naruto, and we did Ichigo, if I'm not mistaken. I think we did Did we do the strongest version of Ichigo? I think we did. I can check that right now. So let's move on to, and I'm not going to do Luffy A because that series is still ongoing at the moment. So that makes that very difficult to do. And yes, Boruto is still technically ongoing as well. So there's more stuff that could show up in Boruto that could be applied to Naruto. But in terms of the just general context, it does seem like Naruto is pretty much like over with in terms of what we could have added to him. Let's see, strongest character build series. Let's see here. Where is that playlist? I only got like 3 of them, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. Where are you? Anyway, so I figured let's give Krillin some love here. Right? You know, he's a good guy. He's a good. No, I actually have only ever done 2. I've only done the Naruto and I've only done the Goku one. I thought I did an Ichigo one. So you know what? Next time I'll do an Ichigo one. I think that's fair. Mind you, I don't know how much stronger we can get with Ichigo, but screw it, we'll figure something out. But let's do Krillin. You know, Goku's best friend, the strongest human in the series. That is confirmed. He is he's stronger than Tien. He's definitely stronger than Yamcha. He surpasses Roshi by a mile, and Tien, who for a time was the strongest human, he now surpasses even Tien in terms of strength. This is due to just him. Mostly it's due to him having his potential unlocked. And how far it went after that is anyone's guess. But yeah, Krillin is confirmed by the writers to be the strongest human. Oh, excuse me. So then, what exactly can we do to make him the strongest version of himself? Now, keep in mind, when I talk about doing the strongest version of a character, I don't add wishing to become a different race in there, because that's an unnatural means of gaining strength. I look for the strongest natural, realistic version. That's why when I did Goku, I didn't wish him to be a combination of all the races, because with the Super Dragon Ball, you could have done that. Hell, with the Super Dragon Balls, you frankly could just wish yourself to be the strongest being in creation. That's why everyone who's used the Super Dragon Balls, all, 4 of them? 17, Beerus, Zamasu's. That's why the 3 of them. That's why, I mean, with those 2, it's whatever. But with Zamasu, it's like, I wish to be immortal. Okay, why didn't you just wish all the mortals gone? Or wish yourself stronger than Zeno? In theory, that is within the Dragon Ball's power. I mean, maybe it's not, but they never confirm it's not. So, because they say that the Super Dragon Balls can grant literally any wish. Anyway, I digress. So, I'm not using any sort of wish-granting powers or anything like that. We're looking for all the natural power-ups Krillin could gain throughout the series. So, let's start from the beginning. Krillin in Dragon Ball trained under Roshi. Great, wonderful. But right out the gate, you could also have him train under Shin, under the Crane School, which is where the technique of flight came from. So early on, Krillin could have had flight. His power could have been a little stronger than Goku's at that point, but Goku still would have surpassed him otherwise. Excuse me. Oh, God. I just started out. It's like 1:30. And like all of a sudden, I just started yawning the minute I started doing this video. Like, what the hell? Maybe I need a nap. Maybe I don't know. Anyways, stop being an idiot. Keep going on with the video. So really, you wouldn't see much different with Krillin in terms of like how strong he is until you get past, say, the Namek arc, because one thing we can always do with any Dragon Ball Z character is have them learn as many techniques as possible through all the avenues they can. So, apart from Krillin knowing all the base techniques that he knows, the Solar Flare, Kienzan, Kamehameha Wave, you know, he can also learn from Piccolo the Masenko Ha, or the Masenko, or Masenko Ha, the Special Beam Cannon, or Masen Kapo. You know, the multi-form technique, which Krillin actually does know that technique, courtesy of Tien, I believe. The multi-arm technique, the tri-beam, like, he can theoretically, any Dragon Ball Z character to amp them to their strongest version, is would be this, would have these techniques under their belt. Beyond that, now we get into realms of how much stronger can we make Krillin. So we know he gets his potential unlocked on Namek. Great, wonderful. But there's also the idea that maybe he could train with King Kai at some point, learning things like the Kaioken. See, that would be something we can add on to Krillin that honestly Goku should be able to teach him, because really all the Spirit Bomb and the Kaioken. Though we've never seen him teach anyone those techniques, we assume they can be taught. If he's learned it, he can teach it, as far as we know. So right out the gate, we can now amp Krillin up immensely. And just for, not sake of argument, just for context, Krillin, where is Krillin's strength a lot? Where does it lie by the time Goku could teach him the Kaioken? It's a good question, because he would already be stronger here because he did train for the androids. Now you add the Kaioken. The question is, how high level of a Kaioken can we max him out to? Assuming that we're being as generous as possible, the highest level of Kaioken we ever saw in the series was the Kaioken times 20. It's, in theory, you can just keep adding the Kaioken higher and higher and higher, but it just gets putting more and more stress on your body. And the Super Saiyan form already trumped that by miles. Like, you would have to do a Kaioken times 50 just to do the equivalent of a Super Saiyan transformation. And the level of stress on your body compared to the level of stress the Super Saiyan form puts on you is not worth it. Now, again, that being said, Krillin would still be immensely strong, immensely powerful, especially for a human. But in terms of where he would be overall, in terms of his power, it still wouldn't be anything overly impressive. Now, that being said, the other thing we can now add on to Krillin after that is 2 rounds in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber during the Android Saga. Now, that would be important, because the level of strength we've seen, we never seen anyone besides the Saiyans and Piccolo for a short time use the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. And they have a growth rate much higher than a normal human. At least the Saiyans do. I don't know about Piccolo's growth rate, to be honest. Now, to be fair, his growth rate is impressive, to say the least, because we do see that in just a year's time, less than a year, he's able to multiply his power from 400 and something to 350, 3,500, which, if you do the rough math, he nearly did an 8 times multiplier on his power, and he had to focus on Gohan for part of that time. So it's arguably he could have done like 10 times his base at that what we got in the originals, what we got afterwards, if not higher. So Krillin, but at the same time, with all the intense training we saw with the Saiyans, or with the humans, with training with the Pendulum Room on Kami's Lookout for a year, Krillin still took a very impressive 6 times multiplier. Actually, his full base was probably more 15, so 7-ish times multiplier. So, but he was training with multiple people. He was he was training in specialized locations like the Pendulum Room. So Krillin training on his own in the Hyperbolic. Now, I don't know if someone goes in with him. Like, Goku didn't want to go in for a second time. He didn't think it would help. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. I'm just gonna call that right now. That level line of thinking was bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong. Goku was right that Gohan was stronger, but You got a whole other year to increase your base power level. Again, I don't. And you still have that extra 9 days left or whatever. Like, I just don't get. Like, go on. I think Goku's mentality was there was no point in training because he was passing the reins off to Gohan at that point. But still. So maybe this, in the hypothetical scenario this happens, maybe it's Goku who goes in there with Krillin instead. And he decides that, I'm going to use that second time. And then maybe Gohan can go in the second time and just whatever. And then honestly, then maybe Goku could theoretically be strong enough to beat him. Like, and there's no, like, Gohan has that power in there. Another year in there, not gonna lie, another year in there, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was probably well within reach. Again, that was like maybe a bad decision on Goku's part. Anywho. So, yeah, Krillin, two rounds in the hyperbolic time chamber for Krillin after that. Okay, that puts him, if I'm just spitballing power levels at the moment here, which that's really all I'm doing. I would say that puts him at least within 20% Frieza range. Like maybe around like a 20, if we're doing numbers, 24 million range. Because we're talking 2 times, and Krillin's power level might not be in the millions at this point, but it'd probably be closing in on the million number. And then, and then you add 2 whole years of 10 times gravity and intense, climate change, like pressure, all that goes on in hyperbolic time chamber. Krillin would get pretty hacked out for a human after that. And he's already the strongest human in the series. He's like, at this point, he's already well stronger than what he originally was in the series. So then you had the ability to use Kaioken on there, times 20. That already makes him exceeds Frieza by a huge margin. So already you've got, and Goku probably even teaches him, like, say, the instant transmission. So assuming that Krillin decides not to skimp on his training, he could train on King Kai's every once in a while, maybe even take a holiday with 18 on Marin. Like maybe King Kai's willing to like look after Marin for a little bit while him and 18 train up for a little while. Maybe there's that. But after that, there isn't a huge space for Krillin to be able to grow. Like there's just not much, there aren't any other avenues. Humans don't have natural transformations as far as I can tell. Or as far as I've shown. If they ever do show it, we can add it on there, but humans don't have a transformative state, like Super Saiyan or Gold Orange Piccolo or anything like that. But once we get into Super, the thing we can add on, and maybe you could even add some Kai shenanigans, hidden potential unlocking, not gurus, but the ultimate potential unlocking. For Krillin, we can definitely add that on. Now, the problem with that is when doing it on someone that's not Krillin, or not a Saiyan, or not Gohan anyway, it's trying to figure out where the limit lies. Though, because the logic we have behind the old Kai hidden potential unlocking is the idea that, first off, it kind of maxes out Gohan to as strong as he normally would be and beyond it. Like it pushes his body to the absolute limit. And then he just doesn't have an upper ceiling. As long as he keeps training, he can keep getting stronger. He can't even it even goes beyond Super Saiyan up. Like he's at his like body's natural limit. And the more he keeps going, the more he expands the limit. Essentially, he's Saitama. It's a Saitama-esque potential unlocking. You can just keep getting stronger as long as you keep training and facing stronger opponents. And it's believed it's a combination of that, Gohan's Saiyan physiology, that unlocks Beast Gohan after that. So what does that mean for someone like Krillin, who's just human? It really is difficult to say. For example, could you add Kaioken on top of that? My answer would actually probably be yes. So now you're looking at someone who maybe at their peak doesn't rival someone like Super Saiyan Goku at that point, but rivals maybe Imperfect Cell in terms of a power level, which Doesn't sound like a lot at first, but when you realize that he's human and just how strong like someone like Imperfect Cell was, that actually is quite a high power level for someone like Krillin. And then you add Kaioken on top of that. But beyond that, then the answer clearly would be going into God Ki for Krillin. God, him, which, as far as you know, anyone can learn God. It takes time and practice and effort, but anyone can learn God Ki. Hell, Vegeta theoretically figured it out on his own. He just did it with time and practice with Whis. And then you go beyond that into the Ultra Instinct, Ultra Instinct Omen, Ultra Instinct Sign power level increases. And at that point, you pretty much have maxed out any human in the series. Just so we know, just to note, we probably would not be doing, I probably won't be doing Tien or Yamcha in this scenario, just because, or even Roshi, just because it would be the exact same thing. I don't want to just keep repeating the same like trajectory for each character. But yeah, the strongest version of Krillin would be a 2-time potential unlock, 2 trips in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, God Ki, Ultra Instinct, Kaioken, with every technique from every one of his allies. So, yeah, it would still be an insanely powerful version of Krillin. I don't think he'd be, say, as strong as Ultra Instinct, because I don't know how strong, we don't see Ultra Instinct on anyone besides Goku and, in the manga, Beerus. So, and Whis, obviously. But we don't know how much of an increase that would give someone apart from Goku. Because despite the fact that it's more of a technique, it is treated like a transformation. And we know for a fact there's a power increase when he did it too. Because he wasn't able to do much to Jiren in Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times Blue Kaioken times 20 Super Saiyan Blue. Yet when he went Ultra Instinct Omen, he was already kind of going more toe to toe with it. And then Master Ultra Instinct, he was whooping Jiren's ass. So it's clear there's a power increase with knowing Ultra Instinct. It's just we don't know where the percentage lies, because once you get into the God Ki measurements, it gets nuts, it gets insane. It's just crazy levels of power. But anyway, that's my thoughts on what the strongest version of Krillin would be. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.